The man I hated, the man I still love. He shattered our marriage. I took everything. So why am I the one who can't move on? I used to think silence was peaceful, that it meant calm, that it meant safety. But in this courtroom, silence is something else entirely. It's heavy. It presses against my chest like a weight I can't lift. It fills the space between me and the man sitting across from me. Samuel Whitman, my husband, my ex-husband, or soon-to-be. I don't even know what to call him anymore. He's 42. Chief Operating Officer at a global tech firm based in Palo Alto. The kind of man who commands rooms, leads teams, signs deals. The kind of man who used to come home late and still kiss me on the forehead like he hadn't missed anything. He's sitting there in the navy suit I bought him last Christmas. His tie is straight. His hands are folded like he's in a boardroom, not a courtroom. He looks calm, not smug, never smug, but composed, like he's accepted this, like he's already moved on. I haven't. My name is Abigail Whitman. I'm 39. I used to be a brand strategist before I gave it all up to raise our children and support his climb. I was good at what I did, but I was better at being his wife, or I thought I was. We have 2 kids. Logan, 13, quiet and observant. He sees more than he says. And Ava, 10, bright and expressive. She still draws pictures of us as a family. In her world, we're still whole. I don't have the heart to correct her. I'm wearing black today. Not because I'm mourning, though maybe I am, but because I didn't want to be seen. Not by him. Not by the judge. Not by the woman sitting 2 rows behind him, pretending she's just here to observe. Madison Clark, 31, senior HR business partner at Samuel's company. The woman who knew he was married. The woman who didn't care. I've seen her LinkedIn. Her Instagram. Her smile in the company holiday photos. I've memorized the curve of her jaw, the way she tilts her head when she laughs. I've studied her like a threat, because she was one. The judge is speaking, but I'm not listening. I'm watching Samuel. I'm watching the way he doesn't look at me. The way he stares straight ahead like if he doesn't see me, he won't feel anything. I feel everything. You're the person I hated the most in this world, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. But you're still the person I want to be with. Samuel flinches, just slightly, but I see it. I know him too well not to. I don't cry. I haven't cried in weeks. Not since the night I packed his things in boxes and left them by the door. Not since I told the kids we were getting a divorce and watched Logan's face go blank and Ava's eyes fill with tears. Not since I stood in the same courtroom and told the judge I wanted everything. And I got it. The house, the savings, the art, the car, the dog, everything but the part of me that still wanted him. I gave you that trust for 15 years, I say, my voice steadier now, and you shattered it like glass. You destroyed our family just like that. The judge clears her throat. She asks if I have anything else to say. I shake my head. Samuel finally looks at me. His eyes are tired. Not angry, not defensive, just tired. Like he's been carrying something heavy for a long time, and he's finally letting it go. I wonder if he still loves me. I wonder if he ever stopped. The silence returns. It stretches between us like a chasm, and for a moment, I think I might fall into it. But I don't. I sit up straighter. I smooth the hem of my dress. I take a breath. This is just the beginning. We met in Boston in a graduate seminar on organizational psychology. I was the one who always raised my hand. He was the one who always leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, listening like he already knew the answer. I thought he was arrogant. He thought I was intense. We were both right. Samuel Whitman had a way of making people believe in him. Professors, classmates, recruiters. Me, he didn't speak often, but when he did, people listened. I used to joke that he could sell sand in a desert. He'd laugh and say, only if you helped me brand it. We fell in love slowly, not the kind of slow that drags, but the kind that builds, quiet dinners, shared notes, long walks through snow-covered streets. By the time we graduated, we were inseparable. He got an offer from a tech firm in Palo Alto. I got one from a branding agency in New York. I turned mine down. I followed him west, We got married in Sonoma under a canopy of vines and fairy lights. I wore a backless dress. He cried when he saw me. I still remember the way his voice cracked when he said, "I promise to protect this life we're building." And we did build it. We bought a house in an upscale gated community. 5 bedrooms, open floor plan, a kitchen that looked like it belonged in a magazine. We had a Tesla and a Range Rover. Logan and Ava went to private school. We hosted wine nights and charity brunches. Our Christmas cards looked like something out of a catalog. People envied us. They saw the house, the cars, the vacations. They saw Samuel's promotions. Senior VP, then coup. They saw me at school events, always polished, always smiling. They saw Logan's quiet brilliance and Ava's bubbly charm. They saw a family that had it all. They didn't see the cracks. They didn't see the nights Samuel came home too late, smelling like hotel soap and exhaustion. They didn't see the way I stopped asking where he'd been. They didn't see the silence at dinner. The way Logan watched us like he was waiting for something to break. They didn't see the way Ava clung to me, sensing something she couldn't name. I stopped working after Ava was born. It wasn't a sacrifice. I wanted to be there. But somewhere along the way, I stopped being Abigail and became Samuel's wife. I managed the house, the schedules, the social calendar. I made sure everything looked perfect. I made sure no one saw the truth. And the truth was this: I was lonely. Not the kind of lonely that comes from being alone. The kind that comes from being next to someone who's already gone. Samuel was never cruel. He didn't yell. He didn't cheat, at least not then. He was just absent emotionally, physically, spiritually. He was building an empire and I was holding up the walls at home. I told myself it was temporary, that once he reached the top, he'd come back to me. He didn't. He reached the top, and then he kept climbing. I remember one night about a year before everything fell apart. I was sitting on the patio drinking wine alone. The kids were asleep. The house was quiet. Samuel was in Singapore for a conference. I looked around at everything we had: the manicured lawn, the string lights, the perfect furniture, and I felt nothing. No pride, no joy, just emptiness. I thought about calling him. I didn't. I thought about leaving. I didn't. I thought about Madison. I didn't know her name yet, but I knew there was someone. There had to be. You don't drift that far from someone you love without drifting towards something else. I told myself I was imagining it, that I was being paranoid, that I was projecting my own loneliness onto him. I wasn't, but I didn't know that yet. All I knew was that the life we built, the one people envied, was starting to feel like a stage set. Beautiful from the outside, hollow underneath, and I was the one keeping the lights on. It didn't come with a scream, or a fight, or a dramatic scene in a restaurant. It came with a message. A friend of mine, Jenna, another mom from Ava's school, sent me a screenshot. It was from a private group chat I wasn't part of. A photo of Samuel and Madison at a company retreat in Lake Tahoe. She was leaning into him. He wasn't pulling away. The caption read, "Guess she finally got him." I stared at it for a long time, not because I didn't believe it, but because I did. I'd known something was wrong for months. Maybe longer: the late nights, the business trips that didn't line up with his calendar. The way he stopped asking me how my day was. The way he started looking through me instead of at me. I didn't confront him right away. I waited. I watched. I went through his phone. Not to find proof, but to confirm what I already knew. There were no explicit messages, no photos, just a pattern: calls to Madison. Calendar entries that didn't match his travel itinerary. A dinner reservation for 2 in San Francisco on a night he told me he was in Seattle. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat on the edge of our bed and stared at the wall. The next morning, I made breakfast like I always did. Logan liked scrambled eggs. Ava wanted pancakes. Samuel came down in his usual routine. Checked his phone, kissed Ava on the head, asked Logan about his math test. He didn't look at me. I watched him butter his toast and sip his coffee and talk about a meeting he had with the board. I watched him pretend everything was normal. And then I asked him, "Are you sleeping with Madison Clark?" He froze. Just for a second, but I saw it. He didn't lie. He didn't deny it. He just said, yes. That was it. No explanation, no justification, no apology. Just yes. I nodded. I didn't say anything else. I finished my coffee. I packed the kids' lunches. I kissed them goodbye. I drove them to school. And then I came home and packed his things. I didn't throw them. I didn't rip anything. I folded his shirts. I zipped his suitcase. I placed his watch in its box. I lined everything up by the front door like I was preparing for a business trip he wasn't coming back from. When he came home that night, he didn't ask why. He saw the boxes. He saw my face. And he said, I'll go. That was the moment I realized how far gone we were. Not because he cheated, but because he didn't fight. He didn't beg. He didn't cry. He just accepted it. Like he'd already made peace with losing me. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling and tried to remember the last time I felt loved, not appreciated, not respected. Loved. I couldn't. I thought about Madison, about her ambition, her charm, her perfect timing. I wondered if she knew what she was taking. I wondered if she cared. I wondered if Samuel loved her. I didn't ask. I didn't want to know. Because the truth was, I still loved him. Even after everything. Even after the betrayal. Even after the quiet collapse of our life. I still loved him. And that was the part I hated most. I didn't want revenge. Not at first. I wanted clarity. I wanted space. I wanted to breathe without wondering who he was texting or what city he was really in. But clarity didn't come. Space didn't help. And breathing felt harder than ever. So I asked for everything. The house in Palo Alto, the savings account, the Range Rover, the dog, the art pieces we collected on our anniversary trips, the wine fridge, the patio furniture, the espresso machine, the things that made our life look beautiful even when it wasn't. I asked for it all, and he gave it to me. No negotiation, no counteroffer, no fight. Just quiet acceptance. I understand, he said when the lawyers read the terms. She can have it. I remember the way the attorney looked at him. Like he was waiting for Samuel to snap, to push back, to reclaim something. But Samuel just nodded, signed the papers, and left the room. That was the moment I realized he wasn't trying to win. He was trying to repent. And I hated that. Because it meant he still cared. And if he still cared, then why did he do it? Why did he let someone like Madison into the space I spent 15 years protecting? Why did he risk everything we built for something so small? I moved back into the house alone. The kids stayed with me most nights. Samuel had them on weekends and Wednesdays. He never missed a pickup, never forgot a recital, never showed up late. He was still a good father, and I hated that too, because it made it harder to hate him. I redecorated the house, took down the family photos, replaced the bedding, changed the locks. I wanted it to feel like mine, like I'd reclaimed something. But every room still whispered his name. The kitchen where he used to make pancakes on Sundays. The living room where he fell asleep watching documentaries. The hallway where he kissed me goodnight, even when we were fighting. I walked through it like a stranger. I hosted a dinner party 2 weeks after the divorce was finalized. Just a few friends. Wine, laughter, polished surfaces, and curated playlists. Everyone said I looked radiant, strong, unshaken. I smiled, I poured drinks, I told stories. And then I cried in the bathroom for 20 minutes while Ava played piano in the next room. I didn't miss the marriage. I missed the man I thought I married. The one who held my hand during Logan's birth. The one who stayed up with me when Ava had the flu. The one who sent me flowers on random Tuesdays just because he liked the way I smiled when I got them. I missed the version of him that existed before Madison. Or maybe I missed the version of me that believed he'd never leave. People asked if I was okay. I said yes. People asked if I was angry. I said no. People asked if I'd ever forgive him. I didn't answer. Because forgiveness felt too close to surrender. And I wasn't ready to surrender anything else. The court required it. Marriage counseling, not to reconcile. Just to prove we tried. I didn't want to go. I didn't see the point. We weren't broken in a way that could be fixed. We were broken in a way that had already been swept into a corner and left there to rot. But I went. Every Wednesday at 4 p.m., I sat across from Dr. Karen Ellison, a licensed therapist with soft eyes and a voice like silk. Her office smelled like lavender and old books. There were tissues on every table. I never used them. Samuel was always on time. He wore business casual. No tie, no jacket, just the kind of polished ease that made him look like he belonged anywhere. He brought a notebook once. I think he wanted to show he was serious. I didn't bring anything. I sat with my arms crossed and my legs tucked under me like I was bracing for impact. I answered questions when asked. I didn't volunteer anything. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't explain. Dr. Ellison asked about our history, how we met, what we loved about each other, what changed. Samuel spoke first. She was the most driven person I'd ever met, he said. She made me want to be better. I didn't respond. She built our life, he continued. I just filled it. I wanted to laugh or scream or ask him if Madison was part of that life I built, but I didn't. I just stared at the bookshelf behind Dr. Ellison's desk and counted the titles. Dr. Ellison asked me what I felt. I said nothing. She asked if I was angry. I said not anymore. She asked if I still loved him. I said that's the problem. Samuel looked at me then, really looked, like he was trying to find the version of me he used to know. The one who used to send him playlists and write notes in his lunch bag. The one who used to wait up for him even when she was exhausted. I wasn't her anymore. I didn't want to be. Dr. Ellison asked if we wanted to continue the sessions after the court requirement ended. I said no. Samuel said if she wants to, I will. I didn't want to, because sitting in that room, talking about what went wrong, felt like digging through ashes for something that wasn't coming back. We did 6 sessions. In the 5th one, Dr. Ellison asked us to name one thing we missed about each other. Samuel said her laugh. I said his honesty. Dr. Ellison smiled, like that meant something. But it didn't, because the laugh he missed was gone, and the honesty I admired had been shattered the moment he said yes. In the final session, Dr. Ellison asked us to write letters to each other. Not to send, just to read aloud. I didn't write one. Samuel did. He read it slowly. His voice didn't shake. He said he was sorry. He said he knew he'd broken something sacred. He said he didn't expect forgiveness, but he hoped I'd find peace. I didn't respond. I just stood up, thanked Dr. Ellison, and walked out. Samuel followed me to the parking lot. He said, I still love you. I said, that's not enough. And it wasn't. Not anymore. I used to think the kids didn't notice. That they were too young. That they were protected by routine and cartoons and the soft bubble of childhood. I was wrong. Logan, our eldest, is 13. He's quiet, observant, always watching. He doesn't ask questions, but he doesn't miss answers either. He saw the shift before I did. The way Samuel stopped lingering at breakfast. The way I stopped smiling when he walked through the door. The way silence became our default setting. He never said anything, but he started staying in his room more, started turning down weekend outings. Started asking if he could walk to school alone. I let him. Because I didn't know how to explain what was happening. I didn't know how to tell him that the people who raised him were falling apart in slow motion. Ava, on the other hand, is 10. She's expressive, emotional, still innocent. She draws pictures of us stick figures holding hands, smiling under a sun with too many rays. She adds hearts. She writes mom plus dad equals love in bubble letters. I keep them in a drawer, not because they make me happy, but because they remind me of what she still believes. When we told them about the divorce, we did it together. We sat on the couch, side by side, like we were still a team. Samuel held Ava's hand. I held Logan's. We said the words slowly, carefully, like we were reading from a script. We're not going to live in the same house anymore, but we'll still be your parents. We still love you. Ava cried. Logan didn't. He just looked at Samuel and said, is this because of work? Samuel hesitated. I answered, no, it's because of choices. Logan nodded. He didn't ask which choices. He already knew. The custody agreement was clean. 50-50. Samuel gets them Wednesdays and weekends. I get them the rest. We alternate holidays. We agreed on everything. No fights, no drama, just logistics. Because when it came to the kids, we were still aligned. Samuel never missed a pickup. Never forgot a recital. Never showed up late. He packed lunches. He helped with homework. He showed up. And I hated that. Not because he was a good father, but because it made it harder to hate him. I wanted him to fail, just a little. I wanted him to forget something. Miss something. Prove that he wasn't the man I used to believe in. But he didn't. He was consistent, present, kind, and that made everything more complicated. Ava asked me once if Daddy was going to marry Madison. I froze. She was coloring at the kitchen table, drawing a picture of our old house. Samuel was in the driveway. I was in the garden. Madison wasn't in the picture, but her name was in the air. I said, I don't know. She said, I hope not. I asked why. She said, because she doesn't look like someone who hugs. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew it was true. Logan doesn't talk about Madison. He doesn't ask questions, but I see the way he watches Samuel when he drops them off, the way he waits for something. An apology, maybe, or an explanation. He won't get one, because Samuel doesn't talk about it. Not to them. Not to me, not to anyone. He just shows up, and maybe that's his way of saying sorry. I try to keep things normal. I make dinner, I help with school projects, I take them to the park. I smile when I need to. I cry when they're asleep. But nothing feels normal anymore. Not the house, not the silence, not the way Ava hugs me tighter at night, not the way Logan looks at me like he's trying to protect me from something he doesn't understand. They didn't ask for this, but they're living in the wreckage, and I don't know how to clean it up. The house is quiet now, not peaceful, just quiet. The kind of quiet that feels like something's missing. Like someone forgot to turn the music back on. Like the laughter that used to echo through the hallways got swallowed by the walls. I walk through it every night after the kids are asleep. I check the locks. I turn off the lights. I straighten the cushions on the couch. I do it out of habit, not purpose. Because routines are easier than feelings. Sometimes I sit on the edge of the bed and scroll through old texts, not to torture myself, just to remember. The way Samuel used to say I miss you when he was traveling. The way he used to send me photos of sunsets from hotel balconies. The way he used to call me Abs like it was a secret nickname only he was allowed to use. I don't delete them. I don't reread them either. I just let them sit there, like artifacts from a life that doesn't exist anymore. I cook for one now. Logan and Ava eat early, and when they're done, they retreat to their rooms. I make pasta or grilled chicken or whatever's easy. I eat at the kitchen island alone, staring at the backsplash we picked out together 3 years ago. I fold laundry that used to be his. I change sheets he used to sleep on. I water plants he used to forget about. I do all the things I used to do when we were married, but now they feel like echoes. I thought taking everything would make me feel powerful. It didn't. It made me feel hollow. Because the house is mine, the car is mine. The bank account is mine, but the part of me that used to feel safe, that used to feel chosen, that part is gone. And I don't know how to get it back. I see Samuel sometimes, at drop-offs, at school events, at Ava's piano recitals. He's always polite, always present, always careful not to overstep. He smiles at the kids, he waves at me. He asks how Logan's doing in math, how Ava's adjusting to her new teacher. He never asks about me. And I never ask about Madison. We pretend we're fine. We pretend we're healed. We pretend we're not still bleeding. I lie awake most nights, not because I'm haunted, but because I'm confused. Why am I the one who can't sleep? Why am I the one who still aches? Why am I the one who still loves? He's the one who broke us. He's the one who chose someone else. He's the one who shattered everything we built. So why does it feel like I'm the one being punished? I've asked myself that question 100 times, in the shower, in the car, in the grocery store. in the middle of folding Ava's socks. And the only answer I've come up with is this. Because I meant it. Because when I said I do, I meant forever. Because when I built this life, I wasn't just playing house. I was building a home. Because when I loved him, I didn't leave room for doubt. And he did. He left room for Madison. He left room for escape. He left room for betrayal. And now I'm left with the ache. Not because I'm weak, but because I was all in, and he wasn't. The courtroom was colder than usual. Not physically, just emotionally. The kind of cold that settles into your bones when you realize you're about to say something that will change everything. Even if everything's already changed. It was a custody hearing, routine, procedural. The judge asked if either party had anything to add before finalizing the schedule. Samuel said no. I said yes. I didn't plan to speak. I hadn't written anything down, but something in me refused to stay quiet. Maybe it was the way Ava clung to my arm that morning. Maybe it was the way Logan looked at Samuel like he was trying to understand him. Maybe it was the way Samuel didn't look at me at all. I stood up. The room didn't react. No gasps, no shifting, just silence. I looked at the judge, then at Samuel, and I said, "You know you're the person I hated the most in this world, but you're still the person I want to be with." Samuel blinked, slowly, like he wasn't sure he heard me right. I kept going. "I gave you that trust for 15 years. I gave you my loyalty, my body, my soul. I gave you children. I gave you a home. I gave you every version of myself I had." I paused, and you shattered it like glass. The judge shifted in her seat. I didn't care. You destroyed our family just like that, with one decision, one moment. One woman who didn't care what she was taking. Samuel's jaw tightened, but he didn't speak. "I took everything from you in the divorce. The house, the savings, the art, the car. I took it all, and you let me." I looked down at my hands. They were shaking. And I thought that would make me feel better. I thought if I stripped you of everything, I'd feel whole again. I looked back up, but I don't. I took a breath. "Because I still love you." The words hung in the air like smoke. I hate that I do. I hate that after everything, after Madison, after the lies, after the silence, I still look at you and wonder if you ever looked back. Samuel's eyes met mine, and for the first time in months, I saw something in them. Not guilt, not shame, just grief. "I don't want to be with you," I said. "Not anymore, not like before. But I want you to know that the love didn't die. It just changed." I sat down. The judge cleared her throat. She finalized the custody agreement. She thanked us for our cooperation. Samuel didn't speak. He just stood, nodded, and walked out. I watched him go, and I felt everything. There are moments I still replay. Not the fights, not the silence, not the unraveling. The good ones. The ones that make it harder to hate him. Like the night we brought Logan home from the hospital. I was exhausted, stitched, swollen, terrified. Samuel held him like he was made of glass. He didn't speak for hours. Just stared at our son like he'd never seen anything so perfect. He cried that night, not loudly. Just a quiet tear that slipped down his cheek while I pretended to sleep. Or the time Ava had the flu and refused to eat. Samuel sat beside her with a spoonful of mashed potatoes and told her stories about a potato kingdom where she was the queen. She laughed, she ate, she got better. Or the way he used to leave notes in my planner, little reminders, little jokes, little pieces of him tucked into my day. "Don't forget to breathe. You're the smartest person in every room. Dinner tonight, just us." I found one last week. It had slipped between the pages of an old journal. It was dated 3 years ago. It said, "I still choose you." I stared at it for a long time, because I don't know when he stopped choosing me. I don't know when Madison became more than a colleague. I don't know when the texts turned into dinners. I don't know when the promises turned into lies. But I know when I stopped believing. It wasn't the day I found out. It was months before that. It was the night he came home late and didn't kiss me. The night he forgot our anniversary and didn't apologize. The night he looked at me like I was furniture. Familiar, functional, forgettable. I remember the way he used to look at me when we were younger. Like I was the answer to a question he hadn't known how to ask. Like I was the reason he believed in things like fate. That look disappeared long before Madison arrived. And maybe that's what hurts the most. Not that he cheated, but that he stopped seeing me. I still remember the way he laughed when he was tired. The way he rubbed his temples when he was thinking. The way he whispered I love you like it was a secret only we shared. I remember the way he held my hand in public. The way he defended me when I doubted myself. The way he made me feel like I was the center of his world. And I hate that I remember. Because those memories don't belong to me anymore. They belong to a version of us that doesn't exist. They belong to a woman I used to be. They belong to a man I used to trust. And yet they linger. In the smell of his old cologne on a scarf I forgot to wash. In the sound of his laugh echoing from Ava's mouth. In the way Logan furrows his brow when he's concentrating. Just like his father. I carry him in pieces. Not because I want to, but because I don't know how to let go. I won the house. That's what people say when they talk about the divorce. Like it was a prize. Like it was a trophy. Like it was something to be proud of. You got the house, they say. At least you got the house. And I nod, I smile. I say yes, I did. But the truth is, the house feels less like a victory and more like a museum. Everything is still here. The furniture we picked out together. The backsplash we argued over. The patio lights he strung up one summer night while Ava danced barefoot in the grass. The framed art from our anniversary trip to Santa Fe. The wine fridge he insisted we needed, even though I barely drink. It's all here, but it doesn't feel like mine. It feels like a stage set. Beautiful, curated, empty. I walk through it every morning after the kids leave for school. I fluff the pillows. I wipe the counters. I water the plants. I do all the things I used to do when we were married. But now, every action feels like a performance. I keep the house spotless, not because I care, but because it's the only thing I can control. The bedroom is the hardest. I changed the sheets, replaced the duvet, moved the bed to the other wall, but the air still feels like him. Like the nights we used to lie side by side, not speaking, not touching, just existing in the same space. I sleep on the left side now, the side he used to claim. I don't know why. Maybe it's habit, maybe it's grief. Maybe it's some twisted attempt to feel close to someone who's already gone. The closet is half empty, his suits are gone, his shoes, his ties, but the shelf where he kept his watch still has a faint outline. Like the memory of him refuses to fade. I thought taking everything would make me feel whole. It didn't. It made me feel alone. Because the house is mine, the car is mine, the bank account is mine, but the part of me that used to feel safe, that used to feel chosen, that part is gone. And I don't know how to get it back. I hosted a brunch last weekend, just a few friends, mimosas, fresh flowers, polished surfaces and curated playlists. Everyone said the house looked stunning, that I looked radiant, that I was doing so well. I smiled, I poured drinks, I told stories, and then I stood in the laundry room for 10 minutes staring at the dryer, trying not to cry. Because this house, this beautiful, perfect house, is filled with everything I won, and none of what I lost. I walk through it now like a ghost. I sit on the couch we picked out together and wonder if he ever misses it. I stand in the kitchen and remember the way he used to dance with Ava while I cooked. I open the fridge and remember the way he used to sneak bites of Logan's leftovers and pretend he didn't. I remember everything, and I hate that I do, because I took everything, except the part of me that still wanted him.